You're good to go.
All right. So all of my kids are still up. So if they pop in here, I'm sorry. I'm sure my little one will come banging on the door soon. He did while me and Rebecca were doing our opportunity event. So for those of you guys, if you don't know me, I'm Christina or CJ, depending on at what point of my life you met me. Everybody kind of calls me something different. Um, I have been with Lavelle for 19 months. I started when my youngest son was 3 weeks old. Um, I am just gonna, I guess, kind of tell my story, and it's gonna kind of go into growth seasons and how I've kind of, there they go. Look. Oh, no, that was my husband. Um, thank you. Um, it's gonna kind of just flow into growth seasons and how I've kind of overcome some of the stuff that I have within my business. Thank you. Within my business and my personal life, and how they've kind of like grown together. Um, so I just kind of little like backstory. I started, like I said, when he was 19 months or when he was 3 weeks old. He's 20 months now. So right at 19 months, I've been with the company. Um, I have two other children as well. So when he was born, I had a newborn, a 2.5 year old, and a 4.5 year old. And then I also nannied twin 3 year olds. So 5 days a week, I had five children under the age of five. So you guys know I needed Thrive. I started it. I was a day one thriver. It was freaking amazing, and I never went back. Um, so I kind of got off to a little bit of a slow start. I had been with a previous company that a lot of us were with for 3 years. And I had a lot of like residual, like just ick for network marketing, but I saw how amazing Krista was doing and Kiana and everybody was doing with this. And I knew I had to give it a try. So I did. Um, so I started off, things got going. Um, and a full year later, I had my best month ever. So July of 2020, I started in July 2019. July of 2020, I had my best month I have to this day ever had in this business. No, yeah. Um, but I want to back up. So we all know this is a 90-day business. Sorry if this rambles, like my story's kind of all over the place, but we all know this is a 90-day business. My commissions and my volume in July were a direct reflection of what I had done for the 3 months prior to that. They were actually the 4 months prior to that. They were not a reflection of June, and they were not a reflection of July. So halfway through June, last year I was on vacation with my family. It was the week of my youngest son's first birthday, and he was in like a freak accident, and my aunt fell on him and broke his leg. We live in Wisconsin. I was on vacation in um, Hilton Head. I think that's North Carolina, something like that. Yeah, or South Carolina. It's South Carolina. So we were on vacation there. They have a little local regional hospital um, that I took him to the next morning because he was acting okay. He had been pretty fussy, but he had like seemed like he was developing an ear infection. So I was like, I'll take him to urgent care tomorrow. Not a huge deal. Um, he had literally just started walking that day. So it wasn't like weird that he wasn't walking or anything like that. So I took him to the hospital, and I thought it was going to be like a quick in and out thing. I told my aunt, like, COVID was happening, so she couldn't come in with us. I told her, I was like, hey, it'll just be a few hours. Like, if you want to wait, you can, or you can go. It was probably like 45-minute drive to this hospital that she took us to. And about 2 hours after being there, I texted my husband and I was like, I feel like this is not going to end well. Um, very We're not going to get super deep into this, but very, very few times in my life have I felt racially profiled. I know that I'm white passing. It's not a big deal. I mean, look at your girl. Like, I'm bright. And I, that was what I dealt with that day at the hospital. I had CPS called on me. They said that I was neglecting my child because I didn't immediately bring him to the hospital because he wasn't walking, even though he had just started walking that day. And it turned into a huge thing. He also had a crack in his skull,
What the
which
fuck?
turned out to not be as big as like they made it out to be, but they like really did a really good job of scaring me. After I had Christian, it's really important to know after I had him, I had extremely bad anxiety. My postpartum anxiety like was literally through the roof. Black labels saved me. Um, so I was on like a complete high with my business. I was doing all of the things. I felt good. I felt great about all of the results I was having. I was in so many conversations. I won't say I was like enrolling people left and right, but I was enrolling more people than I ever had. Um, and then this happens. They transferred us from this like tiny little island hospital to Savannah, Georgia, the children's hospital there, to the trauma center. And y'all, if you've never experienced a trauma center, it is not what it looks like on Grey's Anatomy, especially not when it's your own baby. Um, we spent 5 out of the 7 days that we were at the beach in the hospital, and it did something to me. Like that whole experience. And of course, you would expect it to, but my mindset was great. Like I did my self development, y'all. I did trainings on like morning routines and self development and how great everything, like can be when you get your mind right. And my mind was great. And that 1 week completely derailed everything. And I didn't realize it at the time, but obviously I was focused in on my baby. That was all I was thinking about while we were in the hospital. He had to have surgery. He had like multiple like things. We had doctors coming in and out constantly. Um and then I was also dealing with CPS on top of all of that and literally like had to name someone in case they took my baby away from me. And I like that was rough. So I didn't realize it at the moment, but we drove back to Tennessee because I had driven to South Carolina with my family from there. We drove back to Tennessee. I was there for about another month. Um, my husband came down from Wisconsin for like to be with us. He wasn't working because of COVID and all of that stuff. So we actually got time to like have an extended vacation as a family, and it was really cool. Um, but my mind kind of got wrapped up in like everything that happened subliminally. And I really started letting things go. I realized a couple months later how bad my anxiety had gotten again just from that one thing happening. I stopped being consistent with my products. Y'all, like these things make me feel freaking bomb. Why would I do that? I stopped being consistent with my products. I stopped doing my morning self development. I stopped doing my affirmations. I stopped doing everything that I knew made me feel good because I was scared. Um, it took a couple months for all of the CPS stuff to be like cut out, like shut down, whatever, for us to get like the all clear, basically. Um, so I was just really scared all the time. And I let that seep into every part of my body and every part of like my world, including my business. So when I came back from Tennessee, I went back to work at the bowling center. That I've worked there for like almost 4 years now, and well, worked there. Um, but I'm a bartender, and I'm was stressed. So you guys can put two and two together. I started drinking a whole lot. Um, I think I hid from a lot of people how much I was drinking for a really long time. And um, that was in July after we got back. So I had July, August, September, and then like end ish of September, I kind of realized like there was really a problem. Um, I was like spiraling. Because like I said, I had stopped doing everything that I knew I needed to do to make me feel better, even though I had all of those tools. Like I have a whole little like toolkit of what I know makes me feel better. I stopped doing it. Um, and it kind of took, in all honesty, it took my mom calling me out. Me and my mom are best friends. We have a really awesome relationship. And she was like, hey, dude, you're exactly where I was like 10 years ago. You should probably get a handle on that. And it kind of shook me up. So I, at that time, I was working all the time. If they asked me to work an extra shift, I did, even though it meant like not ever spending time with my husband, missing out on so much with my kids. Everything that I was working to get from this company, I was doing the exact opposite of that, even though I didn't have to. Um, so when we had that conversation, when I had that conversation with my mom, I was like, oh, like, and I realized that I needed to put like some boundaries in place. And once it was probably like early October, once I started, um, thanks, Britt or Chris messes me up. Once I put those boundaries in place, um, that was when my growth season started, I'll say. Um, so I was trying to think back early-ish October. I cut back to working like 2 to 3 days a week max, where I was working like 5 to 6 days a week. Um, I started saying no to extra shifts. I stopped drinking as much, I will say, as much at that point. And that was kind of the one thing that has held on. So we'll get to that. I started taking my products right, and I started doing self-development again. And once I started doing that self-development again, um, I sort of like got closer to my faith again. So I have notes because I like ramble really bad. So that's what I'm looking at. Um, so once I like started into that growth season, um, let's back up. So right before that, I started I had started working my business like a little more. I had said like I was doing all of the things, but I wasn't really doing all of the things. I was doing all of the surface things that made it look like I was doing all of the things. Um, and that like imposter syndrome really started creeping in. And I really like didn't believe in myself. Um, so once I started doing that self-development and starting back up with the affirmations and writing down my gratitude and everything every day, I realized that I had that little toolkit and that I could use it. Um, so I got closer back into my faith, and I had to be humbled really quickly. Like, for some reason, I thought that I could just like start working again and then I'd have all these people flooding in because that's how it was in July. But that's not how it was in October, because from July to October, it had been some months, and this is a 90-day business. So all of the things that I wasn't doing had compounded over that 90 days. So, um, y'all, my kids are being crazy. Sorry. Um, so I started doing, like I said, my self-development again. I started reading again, but I really got into doing different Bible studies. So this is where we're going with all of this. I'm having to adjust, y'all. Sorry. So like I said, I just expected for some reason everything to go back to how it was. And I got humbled really quickly. That's not how it was. I had 5 straight weeks of $0 checks. I got humbled super quick. So I had to, instead of going back into that, well, it's obviously not working. Like, I'm not making any money. I'm not enrolling anybody. My mindset was a little different this time around. I had to like build up that toolkit even more to where even though I wasn't getting what I wanted, I still, even though I wasn't getting what I wanted, I could still keep moving forward. And old me, that would have been really hard. But it took me going through a super, super, super hard season of my life and kind of having a conversation of like, hey, you need to snap out of it. And then having to relearn everything that I was taught when I started the business. And I had to go back to that. It wasn't just okay, you can pick up and keep going. It was what were you doing before that worked, and what are you not doing now, or what did you not do for the last few months? So when I very easily could have walked away with 5 straight weeks of $0 checks. A lot of people would have walked away with that. But where would that have got me? I'm like a couple days away from hitting a $1,000 bonus. But it's not about the money. It's about the multiple texts that I've got this week or messages that I've got this month of helping people get through the crap that they're going through just by telling my story, by telling the stuff that I've grown through. So if I had sat back and said, well, this ain't working, that friend that was very close to ending her life could have done that because she wouldn't have seen me and I wouldn't have been checking in with her. And when when we talk about IPAs and doing, go, close the door. Sorry, y'all. When we talk about IPAs and checking in with people and doing just the daily stuff that seems really mundane. No, Kathy's probably in bed. Close the door, please. When we talk about doing this stuff that seems really mundane, it's not for the people that you're doing it to. You have to remember they're not sitting on the other side of their phone sending or receiving a million messages from people asking how their day is doing. Where we might sit down and do like 15 minutes of messaging people, like green light messaging. That's my thing right now. You might sit down and do 15 minutes of green light messaging. That person isn't sitting there receiving 15 minutes worth of messages. So your one message that you send could change their entire day. So that was all off, y'all. Y'all know me. Just some like practical things. I know a couple people were like talking about how to like get through rough days and get through hard times. So this is what works for me. You have to find what works for you. So, number one, I want to recommend there's a book called The Soul Fast that has helped me so much. It's right here. I actually brought it in here. It's by Cindy Trim. Looks like this. You can get it on Amazon for like $11. It's freaking amazing. It will teach you so much about yourself. And this book is literally what turned everything around for me. So find something like GoPro is amazing. It's awesome for our business. The compound effect is amazing. It's awesome for our business, but you have to find a self-development that's going to make you develop, not just your business. Your business can't develop unless you are. So basically what Soul Fast is all about is like finding who you are and what your soul is all about, and living your most authentic life. And that's what we do. We work authentically. We run our businesses authentically. So you have to authentically know who you are. I did a whole training on like the first day in Waymaker. I do my affirmations every day, multiple times a day. And my favorite thing that I have started doing is I recorded, you know how you can like voice memo in your phone? Or like there's that like recording thing. I recorded myself doing my affirmations. So now I get to hear me tell myself how awesome I am. And that's pretty cool. Like that's how I start my day every morning. So use what your phone can do. Voice memo your affirmations, voice memo your gratitude. If you're having a rough day, you can go back into your gratitude and listen to yourself tell you what you were grateful for. It's really cool. Start every single day, y'all. We preach this all the time, but it is so important. Start every single day filling up your cup. That was the other thing that I really stopped doing in that season of not doing was when I started this business, I was up every morning before my kids every day. And I stopped doing that. And that even 20 minutes of alone time where you can just be at peace with yourself, that is so important just to start your day off on the right foot, because the rest of the day you got little people coming in constantly on you. So start your day with filling up your cup. You cannot pour from an empty cup. I know we say it all the time, but it is so important. Yes, baby. Hi, did you come to steal my ice cream? Okay, hopefully this doesn't make everything fall. Cool. You saying hi? Hi. So this is the guy that changed everything. So start your day filling up your cup. Find a podcast that works for you guys. If you're listening, you can listen to a podcast all you want. You can listen to like a YouTuber all you want. But if it's not somebody that speaks to you, there's no point in doing it. I love me some Jessie Lee, but I have to be in a Jessie Lee mood for her to really like speak to me. I love Eric Thomas. Like he gets me going, but I have to be in an Eric Thomas mood to listen to Eric Thomas. So you're just going to play peekaboo the whole time? Peekaboo. You have to find who works for you. And yeah, Sarah Jakes Roberts, I love her, but even like there's sometimes that I'm like, like I'm not in the mood for that. You have to find what works for you, and it may not be the same person all the time. So doing a podcast, like this is the stuff that we talk about every day, but it's important. Like this is what works, and we talk about it for a reason. Let me see. I just want to make sure that I've gone over everything that I wanted to talk about. Did you see your girlfriend? You saw Ari. Find a podcast, start your day filling up your cup, affirmations, recording yourself, and do it, listening to it multiple times a day. It's not just like a one and done kind of thing. Um, and then don't ever let anybody tell you who you are, even if it's yourself. Your mind is your biggest enemy. It can be your biggest enemy, but it can also be your best friend. Where are you going? Where are you going? Okay, he's going to make everything fall. So he's trying to look behind the computer to find you guys right now. So if you come here, if you let your mind tell you that you're not worthy, or let your mind tell you that you're scared, and you let your mind justify your non-actions, then what's that going to get you? You have to, I mean, like I said, it's the stuff we do every day. You have to do the mind work in order to grow as a person. If you don't grow as a person, then you're not going to grow in your business. And where's that going to get you? So I hope some of this made sense to somebody, and somebody got something out of it. I feel like it was all over the place. I don't know. Was there anything you want to talk about, Krista? No. Cool. Okay. I think that's it. There may have been more, but that's what I found. So I didn't even read most of the chats. Thank you guys for listening. You say bye. All right, good night.